Hi guys, right, take two. I just filmed this exercise and then realised I hadn't turned the microphone on. So we're going to do it again. So this is the hip flexor plank. Okay, so what you're going to do with this, you're going to start off your knee on the box. This leg's going to be free. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to lift this foot will be off the ground, hovering. If your knee stays bent, it's a little bit easier. Your leg out straight, it's a wee bit harder. So what you do is you're just going to hold this position here to start. And then what I want you to do is actively push your knee down, drive your knee down into the box. Okay, and what you'll feel here when you go into that position is you'll feel a big contraction through your abdominal muscles here. By pushing the knee down into the box, you'll also feel there's a slight tilt in your pelvis, and there should be a slight rounding of your shoulders as well here, so you should be shaking quite a lot basically. And what that will feel, it's always harder the second time round, what that will feel similar to is the concept or the feeling you got in your stomach muscles when you were doing the active hang that we did last week. So if you remember, we tried to link some of the movements. So what we said last week, the active hang, you're trying to tuck your pelvis, you're trying to tilt your pelvis that way, which is the same finish position we want you to get in the hip thrust. It's the same finish position we want you to get in the ab rollouts, and also that sort of slight rounding of the shoulders at the top of the movement. So the hip thrust, you tilt the pelvis, you bring your chest forward. Active hang, tilt your pelvis, but almost try and achieve a slight rounding through here as well at the shoulders. So it's the same as this as well. Okay, so what I want you to do is push up, drive the knee down into the box for about 2 to 3 seconds, and then slowly come down. And then when you get to about here, I want you to squeeze the glute muscle of the back of the leg that's on the knee. Squeeze it quite hard for a good couple of seconds. And you can drop your hips a little bit. And if you drop the hips, you'll feel an increased stretch through your hip flexors at the front here, which is fine. But what I want you to make sure you do is keep squeezing your glutes though. And then you come back up by driving the knee down. So in other words, you're tilting your pelvis like here, holding the tension through your abs. Then you're dropping down and you're almost going the other way. But when we go the other way, it's important that you maintain control of your lower back. So I don't want you just like dropping down like this and your ribs are flaring out suddenly and there's no control at your core. So you're dropping down but in an active way. So you're dropping down a little bit but you're still squeezing through the glutes, and that will just help by holding the tension in your glutes. You'll get the stretch you want, but you won't go too far without tension, so you won't go into a sort of like hyperextension of your lower back. So I hope that makes sense. So we're covering a couple of bases here. There is different versions of this. You can just do like a plank and then get someone to put like a 10k weight on your back, which is a really good option as well. But for now, let's just get used to the movement. Let's try and drop into it a little bit to feel an active stretch through the hip flexors. And then obviously when you switch sides, you just go to the other side. When you switch sides, if you go towards the edge of the box, just so that you've got room for your leg to straighten if you want. If you go here, it's doable, but you just need to keep the knee bent the whole time, obviously, because there's nowhere for it to go. Okay, but just make sure this foot remains free. Having the knee here, like in some ways, does make it more challenging because it kind of lends itself, if you're lifting this knee up, it kind of lends itself to that pelvic tilt, okay? And you might feel it more intensely through your stomach muscles. So it's not that there's one right or wrong way of doing it, but if you're wanting to get your legs straighter, you might feel a bit more comfortable, or you might feel a bit congested if you start in the middle, but you might not. So try it if you want in the middle, see how you get on. But ultimately, we're looking for creating a whole load of tension through your stomach muscles here on this one.